You drop a set of car keys on the rug, turn your head for 2 seconds, and turn back to find your 7-month-old aggressively jamming the metal key directly into their mouth. A minute later, it is a clump of carpet lint, the corner of a cardboard box, or the sole of your shoe. Your immediate parental instinct is a mix of panic and disgust. You rush over, pry their jaw open, and sanitize their hands, repeating the phrase, "not in your mouth." When you ask friends or family why this happens, you get the universal blanket explanation, "Oh, they must be teething." So you buy expensive teether toys, freeze damp washcloths, and wait for the phase to end. Yet the moment their gums stop throbbing, the behavior continues unabated. Everything within arm's reach continues to make a direct line for their lips. Blaming this constant oral compulsion entirely on teething is one of the greatest misconceptions in early child development. Your baby is not seeking pain relief. They are conducting high-speed sensory mapping. Today, we are looking past the teething myth to examine the profound neurobiology behind why babies put everything in their mouth, and why this messy drive is critical to their cognitive architecture. By the conclusion of this brief, you will understand the concept of the somatosensory homunculus, the mechanics of oral stereognosis, the immunological benefit of environmental exposure, and how to safely manage their oral drive without halting their mental growth. Let us isolate the primary neurobiological driver of this phase, the somatosensory homunculus gap. The somatosensory homunculus is a neurological map inside the human brain that illustrates how much cortical real estate is devoted to processing touch from different parts of the body. In an adult, our fingertips possess thousands of densely packed nerve endings, making our hands our primary tool for analyzing the physical world. In an infant, however, the fine motor nerve pathways to the hands and fingers are still largely unmyelinated and immature. Their hands can grasp, but they cannot yet relay complex sensory detail to the brain. The mouth, on the other hand, is completely wired from birth. The lips, tongue, and oral cavity have the highest density of sensory nerve endings per square millimeter of any region on an infant's body. When a baby puts an object in their mouth, they aren't trying to eat it. They are transferring the object to the only sensory lab equipment currently capable of generating high-definition spatial data. Their mouth is effectively acting as their fingers until their hand-brain connection catches up. This brings us to the second pillar of oral exploration, oral stereognosis and 3D model construction. Stereognosis is the ability to perceive and identify the three-dimensional form, texture, temperature, and weight of an object purely through touch. When a baby manipulates a cold metal key, a smooth plastic ball, or a soft wooden block with their tongue and lips, their brain is running a massive data processing script. The tongue rolls the item around, mapping its contours, testing its structural resistance, and measuring its thermal density. Is it hard or soft? Is it hollow or solid? Is it sharp or rounded? This physical data is instantly cross-referenced with their visual cortex. They look at the object, mouth the object, and then look at it again. They are teaching their visual system how to interpret textures and shapes at a distance. Without this intense period of oral inspection, their brain would struggle to build an accurate mental model of spatial geometry. The third factor is one that terrifies modern parents, yet serves a vital biological function: microbiome calibration and immunological training. From an evolutionary perspective, infants are not meant to live in a sterile bubble. The hygiene hypothesis in immunology suggests that early exposure to environmental microbes is necessary to train the developing immune system. When an infant mouths objects from their everyday environment, they introduce low levels of microorganisms, dust, and environmental proteins into their gastrointestinal tract. This controlled exposure teaches the immune system's helper T cells to distinguish between harmless environmental particles and actual dangerous pathogens. It acts as a biological priming mechanism that reduces the likelihood of developing autoimmune conditions and severe allergies later in life. Nature designed infants with an instinctual drive to lick the world precisely because their immune system requires environmental sample data to properly configure its defense parameters. The fourth element driving this behavior is motor pathway integration and speech preparation. Long before a child utters their first distinct sentence, they must develop extraordinary motor control over their jaw, tongue, and soft palate. Mouthing objects of various shapes and densities acts as a form of physical therapy for speech hardware. It strengthens the masseter muscles of the jaw, desensitizes the overly protective gag reflex towards the back of the throat, and teaches the tongue how to execute lateral movements. This oral gymnastics phase is the direct mechanical prerequisite for chewing solid foods safely and articulating complex consonant sounds like T, D, and N down the road. So, how do we support this mandatory cognitive phase without exposing our children to actual choke hazards or toxic substances? We shift from a strategy of constant prevention to a protocol of managed oral environments. First, stop sanitizing every item in your home with industrial chemicals. Unless an item has been exposed to dangerous chemicals, choke hazards, or raw biological waste, normal household dust and dirt are not emergencies. Second, introduce a diverse portfolio of tactile textures. If your child only mouths smooth silicone teethers, their sensory cortex receives low-quality data. Provide safe, non-toxic objects with varied density and surface physics, natural, untreated wooden rings, textured rubber links, food-grade silicone mesh, and cold metal spoons. By satisfying their drive for varied texture inside a secure perimeter, you satisfy their underlying brain hunger while protecting them from genuine physical hazards.
The next time you catch your baby putting an object in their mouth, stop viewing it as a gross habit or a sign of sore gums. Recognize that you are witnessing a brilliant, highly sophisticated sensory calibration exercise. Their brain is taking raw physical matter and translating it into high-definition spatial logic, speech hardware practice, and immune system configuration all at once. Your role is not to shut down the laboratory, but to supervise the inventory. Keep the environment safe from actual hazards, step back, and let their developing nervous system map the physical universe at its own miraculous pace. You are managing a brilliant young explorer, and you have all the clarity required to support their growth.